Back in April, there was a story about the Penn-Biden Center for Diplomacy and Global Engagement. Going forward in this video, I'm just going to call that the Biden Center, or the Penn-Biden Center. This is April, and the story was talking about how this organization, which obviously had the Biden's name on it, had a bunch of Chinese anonymous donations. And a bunch, in this case, means $54 million, almost $55 million. The $55 million from the communist government going into a diplomacy and global engagement center is very weird because they're communists and they're partial dictatorship. They're not good people. So why would they be donating $54.8 million to a Joe Biden organization? Now, we all know about Hunter Biden's past and the massive diamonds and the millions and millions of dollars he received from the Chinese government while Joe Biden was in office as the vice president. Some of you may know where I'm going, some of you may not, and it's okay. This is a great story. I've been waiting for something like this for a very long time. So, when I make my videos, I used to just talk. And I can talk for hours on any topic when it comes to politics. I can just go. I don't rehearse these things. I don't reference anything. I see something, I look into it, and then I already have in mind what the clip is going to be that I'm going to use. So I didn't used to use clips, but I already knew in my mind this would be a good idea to use this clip. I didn't do it though. So I started doing it in order to show people that I'm not just talking. I started putting backup to what I was saying. And I started referencing news articles. And I said this before, I leave out Fox most of the time, unless there's something really, really vital, because I know how people's reactions to Fox are. So I'll typically use mainly leftist sources most of the time, unless it's a concrete story. That doesn't matter who the source is. I can use Fox, I can use anybody. So unless it's like a concrete evidence story, I try to use leftist sources or left-wing sources, so that the people who are watching me, who think I'm just running off at the mouth, realize, oh crap, I can actually go look this up. I also try, depending on how far the date and the author of the article is down, I try to put them on every source. And I also put my clip sources at the bottom of my YouTube videos if you've never paid attention to that. So all of my stills, my screen grabs, my pictures will 96% of the time have the date of the story, so you guys can go look it up, and the author of the story, so you guys can go look it up. And I almost always will put that source. So if it's the Associated Press, I leave it in there on purpose. That's why I do that, so you can go look it up. So this Penn-Biden Center that received millions and millions and millions of dollars, around the same time Hunter Biden was receiving millions and millions and millions of dollars. Joe Biden was leaving the office of vice president when the Chinese started pumping money in. Let's think about the timing here. You can go back and look at this story. Tons of references on it, but in April is when it broke, and they were like, hey, we need to look into this. And it was right after they realized that Hunter started getting money from China too, because it was just originally Ukraine, and then China came into play, and they're like, oh, this guy's doing more than just Ukrainian theft. He's stealing money by way of China also, and they're paying him to do it. Again, Biden was vice president, not the president. And I'm stressing that for a reason. So he's gone, out of office. Trump comes in, boom, boom, boom. The world becomes better. We move on. Well, Biden runs for office again and gets in. Again, we're now in 2023. It was discovered in October of 2022 that there were some classified documents found in this global center. Why were they in there? I don't know. But they're classified. And they had, oh, by the way, they had the highest classification for top secret documents. So it wasn't just classified documents, it was the highest classified documents. In August, Mar-A-Lago was raided.
Unprecedented FBI search at the home of former President Trump at Mar-A-Lago in Florida. Tonight, ABC News has learned that the FBI told the Secret Service just 45 minutes before they arrived, and then the Secret Service telling Mar-a-Lago staff just moments before those agents arrived. Sources telling ABC News the search is related to allegations the former president improperly removed documents when he left the White House. They were brought to Mar-a-Lago, including classified material.
They talked about how terrible it was, and there's nuclear secrets. The highest of high classifications of classified documents were in Trump's home, just sitting there in a closet.
One theme that appears to be emerging is this idea of accountability. We're hearing from Representative Eric Swalwell of California, who said, "We are witnessing the difference between an honest system and a corrupt one. In 2020, Donald Trump brought us dangerously close to a permanently corrupt America. The rule of law is taking shape and accountability is coming." Meanwhile, Representative Pramila Jayapal, who's the head of the Congressional Progressive Caucus, said Donald Trump should be in jail. "I'm glad to see the FBI taking steps toward accountability." And Jerry Nadler, the chairman of the House Judiciary Committee, who viewers might remember from Donald Trump's first impeachment, responded to these breaking news headlines with just one word: good! Exclamation point.
This factual recitation has him dead to rights. There's just no question about it. And it explains a lot today about what we were seeing Donald Trump truthing out on his social media platform that's failing. He was basically just freaking out all day. And the reason is this evidence.
It seems as if justice wanted to charge the former president with a crime. Doesn't it appear they already have enough evidence just simply on the mishandling of these classified documents?
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm no expert in, what it takes to indict somebody. I'm a pilot. That's about it. But knowing what I know, I look at this and I go, my goodness. The hypocrisy of folks in my party that spent years chanting "lock her up" about Hillary Clinton because of some deleted emails or quote-unquote wiping a server are now out there defending a man who very clearly did not take the national security of the United States to heart, and it'll be up to DOJ whether or not that reaches the level of indictment. But this is disgusting in my mind, and like this, no president should act this way, obviously.
As if he did have Secret Service, and no one can just walk in and start looking through stuff. So Trump's reasoning was, hey, I was the president of the United States. I declassified all that stuff. And it was in a secure place because the Secret Service is always there. And I did exactly what they told me to do, and I locked the stuff up and put it away. And every time they wanted something, they requested it. And if I was in agreement, I would send it. If I wasn't, my lawyers would talk to them and give the reasons why I want whatever the document is. Makes sense to me. Joe Biden did not like that.
When you saw the photograph of the top secret documents laid out on the floor at Mar-A-Lago, what did you think to yourself, looking at that image?
How that could possibly happen, how anyone could be that irresponsible. And I thought, what data was in there that may compromise sources and methods? By that I mean names of people who helped, or et cetera. And it's just totally irresponsible.
He just couldn't understand how something like that could happen.
Following classified government documents found inside one of President Biden's private offices. The records dating from Biden's time as vice president during the Obama administration. CNN senior justice correspondent Evan Perez has been working the story for us. He's got the new information. Update our viewers on exactly what is going on.
Well, Wolf, this is reporting from our colleague Jamie Gangel and our team. We're told that the president's legal team discovered these documents. They say it's fewer than a dozen documents, classified documents, that were discovered in a office that the president had when he was setting up an office with the University of Pennsylvania, the Penn Biden Center here in Washington, D.C. They were cleaning out this office, trying to close it out, and that's when they discovered these documents. Again, according to the White House, there are fewer than a dozen documents. They've now turned those documents over to the National Archives, which has in turn asked the Justice Department to investigate it.
I can't understand how something like this could happen. It's so irresponsible. Oh, it's so great. So, Joe Biden, who was not the president and did not have the ability to declassify anything, just had documents laying around in a place where people from all over the globe come and discuss things about the world. The highest of high classified documents were in this office.
I'm told there were fewer than a dozen documents, but they were classified. They were of a certain level.
Were they top secret?
They are under a category called SCI.
That's higher than top secret.
And that, but that we don't know the significance. We don't know the content. They don't know what they pertain to. But absolutely.
SCI, sensitive compartmented information, which is one of the highest classified levels of classification.
And it's really interesting to see how they're justifying it. Well, yeah, but it was locked. Sounds like Trump. It was locked away, and he didn't know. He didn't know he had classified, highly classified documents on him. I find that hard to believe. You can't just walk out with them. You're not the president, you're the vice president. But that's fine, it's okay. So I was watching CNN's coverage of it, and it was actually not bad, except for the lady who broke the story. And she's like, yeah, this is not the same as Donald Trump. Donald Trump had 90-something documents. Okay, so how many were as classified or in the tier of classification as the ones Biden had? 25. Cool. That's what they say. We're still not sure on that. It's still being investigated. Okay, how many did Biden have? 10. Okay, so he had less than half. What makes those 10 less important than the 25 that Trump had? We don't know what's on either of them. But here's the difference that I see in it, is one is secured by the Secret Service. The other was just sitting in an office. No one's there. No one's been there since 2016. Who has access to that building? Is that secured? Because it would seem to me, it appears as if that they're just sitting in a closet somewhere. How is that not exposing the world to classified documents? And we don't know what was in them. Now, the part that really annoys me about this is when they raided Trump's home, was in August. This story broke in April. They knew as of October that Biden had did the same thing. Except Biden did not have the clearance and ability to declassify. It was on the news 24/7. Mar-A-Lago, oh my God, Trump documents. What? This is it. This is criminal. That's all we heard. What have we heard about Joe Biden? What have you heard on this story about Joe Biden? Have you heard any calls of him stepping down and resigning and being a criminal? No. Why not? Why not? It's your news. This is what you guys watch. The news that you're watching, have you heard about this? If you had, were they calling for criminal charges like they did against Trump? If not, why not? Trump is a criminal, right? That's what you say. That's what I've heard a lot of people say. He broke the law. He exposed nuclear secrets or top secret information that could have compromised agents all over the world. Remember? It was only a few months ago. I'm very interested in the viewer. I'm not interested in the media because they're corrupt. We all know they're corrupt. They're the bottom of the barrel trash. But you, the viewer, you who watches this trash, why aren't they reporting it the same way? I don't want to hear, well, there was a lot more documents, because at the tier of classification of the documents that were found in Biden's closet in a random office somewhere, the tier of those there was 10 pages. You want to match that with what Trump had? He had 25 pages. But again, Trump was the president. He could declassify anything. Biden couldn't. So we're now talking about 30 to 35 documents that were all top secret. One side is being said to be a criminal and should be in prison. Again, not allowed to run for president again. The other side is now the president, who you can't go retroactively declassify those things. You didn't have the power to do it. You can declassify stuff that was created while you were in the position to declassify stuff. Which is why you saw Trump say, I declassified all that stuff when I took it. I was the president. I could do that. Biden can't do that because he was the vice president. He did not go through any process. There is no reason for him to have that stuff. There's definitely no reason to him have it in an unsecure office. It wasn't a government agency. It wasn't a government office. There's no Secret Service there securing it. It would be better if it was in Biden's home, because Secret Service is always at his home. So you, the viewer, how do you view Joe Biden as the vice president, leaving documents, just like his son did with his laptops, leaving them at a pawn shop? I don't know, was it a pawn shop or was it a computer repair shop? Whatever it was. Joe Biden did the exact same thing with top secret documents. He just left them in an office somewhere. How do you look at this? Are you being as judgmental? Where are your pitchforks at? Should Biden be impeached? Should he step down? Should criminal charges be brought against him? Because that's all we heard after the Mar-A-Lago raid. That's all we heard. And now here we sit, really late at night, they released the information. Hey, just so you guys know, don't worry, he's cooperating. Everyone cooperates after they've been caught. He's fully cooperating. He turned it over to the what is it, National Archives? Yeah, he turned it over. Okay. After he found it in office, it was never secured, but the door was locked. Oh, okay. Well, now we know.